Hi, this is Dave. Welcome to today's lesson. Today we're going to be looking at a very interesting topic, and that is the effectiveness of using drug replacement therapies such as Suboxone and those types of things when trying to recover from drug addiction. Myself, when I quit my heroin addiction, I went into a stabilization facility and basically went cold turkey, if you can call it that. I went through withdrawals and then got put onto methadone for a short while thereafter to recover from my addiction. But I never actually relied on the methadone or anything in that line to help me to get clean. And a lot of people want to recover at home that don't want to actually go to institutions to recover. So I thought it's quite important that we have a look at this aspect of addiction and getting rid of your addiction so that we can find out the truth behind some of this. Now, I've got a good friend and partner, Dean. He's used many of these drug replacement therapies in order to beat his addiction. And there are a couple of truths and insights which I feel that he can share with you, which I've got no knowledge about, as I left my methadone treatment scarcely a week into it and just decided to quit and go clean. Now, this is not in everybody's cup of tea. So, if you're looking at drug replacement treatment therapy as part of your recovery campaign, then maybe what Dean's got to say to you today will be able to help you, and to be able to help those that have got children that are using them to understand the mentality behind using these kinds of drugs to effectively overcome and beat your addiction. So right now I'd like to introduce my partner and very good friend Dean, and he'll be sharing a lot more on the subject that he's got a lot more experience and insight into. So let's welcome Dean. How's it, Dean?
Hey,
Welcome.
thanks.
Dean, you've been also down the heroin addiction route for many years,
Yeah.
and you've been to various rehabs. You've been in and out of institutions. You've been on these drug replacement therapies. Let me first ask you, what types of replacement therapies have you tried so far, and let's put it this way, what effect have they had for you?
The first one I went on was at Eugene Maria Hospital. I went for drips there. That I was there, I think, for a week and a half. That they put you on drips every single day.
What
That
drips were those? Do you know?
saline with a mixture of something. I know they started it in America, and it came over here, but it never took off here.
All
So
right.
there were only a couple of trials, and then they stopped the trials.
All right.
That never worked. I went straight while I was in hospital on the drips. I used heroin again.
While you were in hospital, you were using heroin.
Yes, yes.
How did you get the heroin while you were in hospital?
I phoned a friend to bring it to me. He brought it to me. I told them I'm going to go have a bath. So I was sitting in the bath with my drip, and in the bath I shot up. I fell asleep. They found me about 12 to 18 hours later, fast asleep in the bath, stark naked.
Wow. Okay, that's a bit of an eye opener.
Yeah.
All right. And from there, where did you go from there?
Then I kept on using for a while, and I decided it's time to quit. So I asked my parents for some help, and I said I heard about Subutex. So I started taking Subutex, but once I started taking the Subutex, I started using heroin as well. So I would tell my parents I need more Subutex, and I would take the Subutex and I would hide it away, and I'd be taking heroin. And once I don't have Subutex, once I don't have heroin, I take the Subutex so that the edge isn't so much, so that I don't hack
So
so
you're
much.
actually just using it as a fill-in for your withdrawal symptoms at the time.
Yes, yes.
All right. What other types of drug treatment therapies have you used?
I've used methadone, Suboxone, Subitone. I think that's about most of them.
That's most of them.
Yeah.
Now tell me something. Did any of these things that you were using actually contribute or attribute to your recovery from your heroin addiction? Did they help you?
In the beginning, it didn't really help me because I was more into the heroin and crack and stuff like that. So I just kept it as a spare for
As a
when I didn't
backup.
have money.
So in other words, you were leading people to believe that what they were supplying you was going to help you to beat your addiction, but in fact you were using it as a backup for hard times
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when you couldn't afford your fix.
Yeah, and I even made my parents believe that the Subutex would pick up in drug tests. So every time they tested me, it tested positive, and I tell them no, it's the Subutex that they're finding in my system.
Now, doesn't this just enlighten us to the miraculous and the incredible ingenuity of a junkie's brain when he's using?
Yeah, no,
Um,
definitely.
so, what actually, people that are using Subutex and these things, do you feel as well that it is a commitment on the part of the junkie to actually get clean that
It
will
is.
let the Subutex help them? If you
Definitely.
don't have that commitment, that Subutex is purely going to be used as a backup plan,
Yeah,
as a backup strategy to be
definitely.
able to help them feed their addiction.
Definitely, definitely, because some people actually even spike Subutex. They would take it like a
You were talking about smoking it as well.
yeah, they would take it like they would take heroin, for instance, as especially for people that were spiking heroin, just to take the edge off. And for a stage, I used to smoke Subutex to take the because I used to smoke mostly. I used to smoke my heroin, and I was taking Subutex like that, and I would start with an 8 milligram pill, and I'd take like 3 a day for a day, and then the next day I'd go over to 4 milligrams, and I'd take 4 milligrams 3 times a day.
Is this when you were serious about actually getting
Yeah,
clean?
yeah. When I was
This is
serious,
not when you were using Subutex as a
no,
backup.
no, not when I was using it as a backup. So I would take 4 milligrams 3 times a day, and then I would go down to 2 milligrams 3 times a day, and then I would go down to 2 milligrams twice a day, and to 2 milligram once a day, and then I left it. And I was clean for quite a while. I was finished with all my withdrawals, everything like that. So I was
But you
totally
say
clean.
you were clean for quite a while. That means
Yeah.
you did relapse again, once again after that.
I did relapse. Yeah, I met up with some friends, and
No, you
things.
decided to use
Yeah,
with them.
I basically decided while I was with them to
Yeah,
use again.
yeah. You know, that's the old junkie line. We
Yeah.
like to point the fingers and say
Yeah,
that
yeah, I know,
so and so
but
led me where I'm going, what I'm doing.
yeah,
But it was a decision you made for yourself, and you do
yeah.
realize that today.
No,
How long have you been clean up until today?
about 2.5 years.
About 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really amazing. So where was the changing point that you were no longer using the Subutex and stuff to just back you up? Was it a mindset change? Was it an emotional mindset change or emotional change? Was it something that came into your life? What led you to actually begin to get clean?
I was very tired of using drugs for a long time, and I met a wonderful, wonderful woman, and we got engaged.
Oh, that's great.
So
So it's actually a mindset change and a commitment that you made to yourself to get clean.
yes,
So it's that commitment at the end of the day which actually makes the difference, that mindset change which helps you to then once again begin to recover.
yes, definitely.
Well, Dean, this has been very informative and thank you for all the information. Dude, great
Thanks for
chatting to
having
you.
me.
Always great, eh? Thanks,
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.